Listen, this is one of those days you wake up and you're in disbelief of what you just watched. You're like, did that really happen last night? Did I just watch Whether it's the Knicks stealing it, the Cavs blowing it, or a combination of both, it's really something we've never seen before, and that's now 2 straight days we say that because Wemby on Monday night put on an absolute show. It's one of the great performances I've ever seen in all my years watching basketball. And then halfway through last night's game, I'm watching Knicks Cavs. I'm at the game, and I tweet out at Ty D Butler, where does this measure up to what we saw last night? And I'm talking about the Western Conference Finals because it just felt like 2 levels beneath Spurs Thunder, where the Knicks and the Cavs were sloppy, turning the ball over left and right. There was like no rhythm to the game. The crowd was kind of out of it, and it in a lot of ways felt like a preseason game. Uh, and then it just turned up, and we end up getting like just an all-time great finish. I'm still trying to figure out how it all happened. And look, you could point to a lot of different things. Like the Cavs, and I said this on the radio last night, ESPN New York. The Cavs had checked a lot of boxes of how you blow a 22-point lead. One of the boxes is simply employing James Harden, who throughout his career has been like just this all-time choke artist. And Kenny Atkinson, God love him, man. I Part of being a coach is like this thing called adjustments, right? Like that's something we look to coaches for. Make a halftime, make an in-game, in quarter or end of quarter adjustment. Once you see something's not working, you find a way to figure it out. And hit me up in the comments, by the way, Ty D Butler. If you're watching us on YouTube where we're streaming, subscribe to the channel. If you are kicking it with us on Twitter, hit the follow button at Ty D Butler. Hop in the comments because I definitely want to hear from you. I just here's what I can't figure out for the life of me. Couple things, actually. I really don't understand how NBA teams, and we see this happen far too often, can watch something work almost to perfection. They then go up 20 points. And as we hit crunch time, late stages of the fourth quarter, decide, I know what we did worked, but let's just go away from it. The Cavs, the reason why they went up 22 points was because they have, unlike the Sixers and the Hawks, who the Knicks played in the first 2 rounds, they have the personnel to exploit some of those Knick weaknesses on defense. And that is getting Cat, getting Brunson in those pick and rolls. And since the Knicks obviously don't trust those guys to guard one-on-one, they're going to trap the Cavs high ball screens. And that's just going to open the floor for a bunch of shooters. And we saw Wade and Merrill and Strus, who barely played in that fourth quarter, even Donovan and Mobley. Like these guys were able to have offensive success because they're going 4 and 3. A lot of them are open shots. And the Cavs, final 7 minutes and 40 seconds of regulation and then in overtime, just went away from that. Once you got to overtime, you knew they were cooked. But I've never understood why teams go away from what clearly has been working. Second thing I don't understand is you've got Donovan Mitchell. When you have Donovan Mitchell, why do I gotta watch possession after possession? James Harden, the ball is in his hands, and I guess like it to some degree it makes sense because he's their primary ball handler. He is still at his best one of the best playmakers in the league. 17 years into it in his career, but once you see them settling for all those jump shots, just put the ball in Mitchell's hands. Far too often, you just watch a Cavs possession, and Mitchell's just nowhere to be found. I want to bring this picture up. It's a screen grab, and it's the perfect encapsulation of what we saw last night and how it just shows you what both teams are about. So here's a screen grab. Cavs are up 93-71. 7:52 left in the fourth quarter. And let me explain to you why this is an excellent screenshot. The Cavs, their identity is they choke. They blow leads all the time. So it's perfect. We see them up 22, seemingly in command of this game. I was at the Garden. At this point, I'm on my way out. I think what ends up happening is so he misses one of these free throws. The Knicks end up calling a timeout. It's 7:40 left. Like this fully encapsulates both the Cavs and the Knicks experience because you also have so you got James Harden at the free throw line. And maybe this is just me kind of making it up because it fits the narrative. But you watch James Harden, you look in his eyes in that fourth quarter, he wanted no smoke. He wanted no parts of the fourth quarter. You can see it. Here's Jalen Brunson, however, ready to attack. And there's an excellent I want to say it was Christian Winfield who does a great job covering the Knicks. He has a video. He's behind the Knick bench, and you see Brunson in the huddle firing guys up, like being the leader that he is, bringing the team together. So in this screen grab, Brunson ready to attack. You also realize no sign of Donovan Mitchell. Now, appropriate because Evan Mobley and Dean Wade are better rebounders, so you understand it. But I just thought it was appropriate. There's no Donovan Mitchell in this picture. Where was he in the fourth quarter? Harden's at the line, ball in his hands with a chance to ice the game, essentially. Chances multiple times to put that game away. And we know James Harden is always going to James Harden. And then you have Brunson hanging here, who's like, nah, I want this. I want this. This is my kind of game. Because as we've seen the last 4 years of him in a Knicks playoff uniform, count the number of guys you'd rather have in crunch time over Jalen Brunson. And then you also see, shout out my guy, my doppelganger, Mikal Bridges, who had a couple of big time. That three he hit, and it's gonna fly under the radar. It's 97-90 with like 250 left to go in the game. Was this after the Evan Mobley? Yeah, I think this is after the Evan Mobley three. It's 97-90. And then Bridges hits this ridiculous three-pointer over Mobley. And it's one of the biggest shot. I guess every shot once you're down 22 is technically one of the biggest shots of the game, but that just felt huge because of the momentum swing, and it kept the Knicks in it, and he's in this picture. So it's perfect. The Cavs, known chokers, they actually did this on Christmas Day against the Knicks at the Garden. Up big, couldn't hold on to the lead, but this was pre-James Harden, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it's the NBA, leads get blown all the time. But for my entire life, the Knicks don't win games like this. In fact, it's the largest deficit they've overcome in their franchise history in a playoff game. And it's fitting who they did it against and the cast of characters they now have who have contributed to the building of this identity, never quit, never say die, and they just snatched the souls from the Cavs last night. And that Garden crowd got into it. Once you get to overtime, you know this game's over. You know the Cleveland's drawing dead. They have no shot. And this becomes, if you are of a certain age, this becomes for many Knicks fans, for a generation of Knicks fans, and perhaps multiple generation of Knicks fans, this becomes the greatest win you've ever seen. And I get they went to the finals back in 99. I understand the run back in 94 where they lose to Dream in the finals. But this game, because of the group that you come to just adore, and how close they are to legitimately winning a title, this becomes like your favorite win ever. Brunson scores 17 of his 38 in the fourth quarter, captain clutch. There aren't many guys you would rather have the ball in their hands once the game is close late. You get big time shot after big time shot from Bridges, who 2 rounds ago Knicks fans wanted to bench, from Shamet, who really wasn't a part of their rotation in that opening series, and their defense just shutting down the Cavs. The Cavs scored 3 points in overtime. It's a monumental win. We saw it, the videos circulating on 7th Avenue. Man, like this is the moment you are going to look back on if the Knicks do go on to win the title and they're 7 wins away. This is going to be the moment that kind of symbolized what this Knicks team is. And it's good. It has been an incredible journey. So shout out to the Knicks faithful. Shout out to the fans who stayed in that building last night because they believed, given what this team had shown you, they believed we're coming back to win this game, and they absolutely did. Big up to them. I'm still like shell shocked. I'm also on like 3 hours of sleep, but fam, it's still to me mind-boggling that happened. And from a Cavs perspective, so Kenny Atkinson last night after the game, he's like the last person you want to hear from, but also the first person, just because we need an explanation as to like how you allowed what happened to happen. And he's got this quote that has gone viral, and the more you see it, the more you can't believe it. You almost like when you read the quote, you're like, this has to be AI. Then you listen to it and you're like, no, it's real. So Kenny Atkinson says, I'd like to hold my timeouts. I try to hold them. And I'm still trying to figure out which was worse. Was it this quote from Atkinson? You're watching James Harden just get torched possession after possession after possession. And you decided it was more important to you to hold your timeouts. Let's not gather the group back together, figure out how we can stop the bleeding. We need to hold our timeouts. I don't know, excuse me, what's worse, that or a night after watching the Spurs decide SGA just wasn't going to be the guy to beat them. Kenny Atkinson allows Jalen to score 17 points in the final 8 minutes of regulation and overtime. He's the one guy you should not allow to beat you. And I understand Bridges is hitting shots, Shamit's hitting shots, OG ends up coming alive in overtime. But damn it, I can live with that. Just like San Antonio decided, we can live with whether it's J-Dub or Chet or Cason Wallace, Caruso, we can live with a number of guys beating us. But at least we know we took their best player out of these possessions. That's how you got to go down. And instead, Kenny felt it was in their best interest. Their probability of winning this game was actually higher if they allowed, Jalen to go one-on-one against traffic cone James Harden? How does that make any sense? If I'm a Cavs fan, I'm going nuts today. And I'm shooting at a lot of folks. The head coach for not making any kind of adjustment. You've got James Harden getting cooked. And as bad as his defense was, the offense might have been even worse. Because you're just settling for jump shots. Get into the lane. Yo, Jalen Brunson had 5 fouls in that fourth quarter. He's the one guy you want to pick on. And what you know about Jalen is when he has decided yeah, I can't play defense. He's gonna go into the I'm gonna draw a charge. Um, he's going into that mode. And so charges, for the most part, especially late in games, you're driving to the basket, become 50-50. So you've got a chance to foul their best player out of the game. You've got two of the best isolation guys who can get to the basket in Harden and Mitchell. And at no point they decided, yeah, let's do that. It's crazy to me. This loss could have been avoided in so many ways. And I get, like, there were some lucky bounces. How does the Sam Merrill shot not go in? How does the Landry Shamet shot go in? Right? Harden had a floater. He's in point blank range, and it's like 9 times out of 10 that shot goes in. Some of it is just bad luck, but that bad luck only shows up when you put your team in position to have it affect you. Because up 22 with 7:40 left in the game, none of that should have even mattered. It should not have even come down to that. It's crazy, man. Uh, hang on one second. I'm trying to see if this dude I love talking hoops with is able to hop on. Big James Harden thing. I can't wrap my mind around that game. There are so many different layers to it, y'all. Like, we could literally spend the rest of the day talking about it. And if you're a Knicks fan, you wake up today, and on one side, it's like, yeah, I can believe it. This is who this team has been. The Cardiac Knicks. They come back. On the other hand, it's like, yo, a year ago, we were on the losing end of that kind of game. Not as, I was going to say, not as devastating as blowing a 22-point lead. But I mean, down 9 or up 9 with a minute left to go is pretty damn devastating. And then it lost you the series. Um, uh, my bad. I'm just answering some text. But anyway, that's a number of ways you lost that game. Your two best players disappeared. The Jared Allen missed multiple free throws. I think Evan Mobley had a missed free throw in that span too. Jalen going 1-on-1 and just getting any shot he wants. Yo, I went back this morning just to watch the final 7:40 of that game. Brunson, I mean, the ridiculous shot making. He hit some shots just tough, getting to every spot he wanted. And we are already at the point with him where, like, every time he takes a shot late in the game, you expect it to go in. But last night was just on a different level. So you had that. You had Bridges, a couple threes he hit. The Knicks almost got they almost had their balloon deflated on that Towns offensive foul that just made no sense, where he's pulling Jared Allen's arm as OG's going to the basket for a wide open dunk. It was so unnecessary, and that's the part that frustrates you with Towns. And then he's got to do the whole pretend it's a jarring call. You watch the replay, it's like, bro, like nothing about that is controversial. The only controversial thing is like you deciding that that was a good decision. So I sometimes feel like Cat's body just does things that like he doesn't want it to do. Because you watch him, it's like, bro, how did we end up with you making that decision? Gerald chimes in on Twitter at Ty D Butler. Tie on till 1 a.m., then back at 8 a.m. to Brandon Strong. You know how we give it up, brother. The grind, man. That grind don't stop. Yeah, I was on the radio last night till 1 o'clock in the morning, just trying to like process what the hell just happened. And it's fun doing it in real time, getting that raw reaction and emotion from all the Knicks fans driving back home or, on their way back home from the game, the people who are at home just watching it, consuming it. And then you wake up 3 hours later and like the takes are just firing off. So I'm like, nah, I gotta hop on here and um I gotta hop on here and just comb through what the hell just happened. Um, this is crazy. This is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The amount of things you need to go right to overcome a 22-point deficit. The amount of things you need to go wrong to blow a 22-point lead. And it's why like the popular question on national sports talk, whether it's television or radio today, will be like what we saw. Was that a Cavs meltdown or was that a Knicks victory? And look, the easy answer is it's a combination of both. But if you had to choose one, was that more about the Cavs or the Knicks? The case for the Knicks is we've seen this before. We saw them do this against the Celtics last year in back-to-back games on the road, which is even more difficult against the defending champs. And this has just become part of their identity. And I've got just this amazing stat. Was it James in Spring Valley who tagged me in this tweet last night? I got to go through my mentions and see just an incredible stat. And I think it came to us. I want to try to find it because I don't want to screw it up. Did it come to us from like the Associated Press? I gotta find this tweet, y'all. It's just here we go. Yes. This comes to us. No, Doug Clawson is a CBS Sports researcher. And I want to blow up the tweet. You guys can see that on the screen, correct? I didn't mean to remove that. Here we go. Doug Clawson says playoff record, and I'll go in reverse order. Down 20 points in the last 2 years. So everyone else in the league not named the Knicks 4-67 when down 20 plus points in the last 2 years. 4-67. Meanwhile, your New York Knicks have won 4 games down 20 plus points. The two Celtics comebacks in games 1 and 2 last night, and I'm trying to think of who else they were down 22 and then ended up coming back to beat. Knicks down 20, came back to win the game. I'm trying to think of the fourth win. If you're a Knicks fan and you're watching the stream and you want to hop in the comments to just remind me of who that fourth win, because we know 2 of them are against the Celtics. Was the third one against the Celtics? Did the Knicks come back from 20 down in game 4 to beat Boston? No, because that's the Jason Tatum Achilles game, and I don't think they were down 20. Luke Cornett has his time to shine in game 5. They win, the Celtics do. I'm trying to figure out who that fourth win came against. Atlanta? Was Atlanta up 20? No. Atlanta didn't have a 20-point lead. So I'm trying to figure out who that fourth win is against. But anyway, so this stat just does put into perspective how resilient this group has been, yo. This group has just been the resolve. And I said this last night. If you're the Cavs, you might as well just pack this thing up and go to Cancun now. Don't stay in New York. Book the flights today. We're going to Cancun because you don't come back from a loss like this. You just don't. Emotionally, you're just shot. You're drained. And look, they could very well come back and win game 2. The problem for them is instead of having to win 4, you've got to win 5. And I just don't think you're good enough to beat this Knicks team 5 times in 2 weeks. That was a win last night for the Cavs. Now you need 4 more wins. When all it really should have taken is 4 wins, but you blew the game that you actually won. And I made a list of things that just went right for Cleveland. And if I had told you before the game, here is what's going to happen for you. You're going to hit 16 threes. OG early looked like he just was unsure of himself coming back from that hamstring. You had Josh Hart and Towns combined for 9 turnovers. Josh Hart did not play well at all in this game. The stat line looks good for Towns. What did he finish with? 13 and 13. But the 7 turnovers, he was pretty bad last night. Mitchell Robinson ends up being unplayable because when you're a guy coming off the bench, typically, it's the latter part of, the first and third quarters where if teams are in the penalty, they're just going to foul him and send him to the free throw line. And you just can't have that happen in playoff games. So he goes 2 of 8. Donovan, the stat line looks amazing. 29, 5 and 3. And then you had Mobley go for 15 and 14, including a big 3 down the stretch. So if I had outlined that for you, if you're a Cavs fan, you're like, oh yeah, we win this game. And then throw in at some point in the fourth quarter, you're going to be up 22. You're like, oh yeah, I'll take that. We win this game. And then you come up empty. You don't just lose. You score 3 points in overtime en route to an 11-point loss. So I just don't I don't think that you come back from this. I don't think that you come back from this. It's just you want to believe all of the cliches. A playoff series doesn't really start until the road team wins a game. You want to believe, hey, Cleveland last round fell down 0-2 to the Pistons and were able to rally back, win 4 or 5, and take that series. You want to believe Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, 2 future Hall of Famers, and then they've also got 2 other all-stars on their team, and Allen and Mobley. Like, you want to believe in those things, but the fact of the matter is, and this is kind of like a, statistical, immeasurable, you just don't have a gut punch like this in a series and come back. And the Knicks fans, ask them. They went through this a year ago. This is the type of gut punch that knocks you out. And the rest of the fight, you're just trying to battle back, but you're stumbling forward. And you're just not good enough to win. You weren't good enough to win coming into the series in my eyes because I had the Knicks winning in 5. And now that you blew a game like that, you're drawing dead. You're cooked. It's over. And it's the Eastern Conference Finals. And you allow the opposing team to go on a 44-11 run. As bad as your defense was during that stretch, you scored 11 points in that span with all of the offensive firepower that you have. You score 11 points. Yo, Cavs, man. And it's just beautiful for the Knicks, right? This is karma going the other way. The basketball gods really robbed you last year. How do you allow that Tyrese Halliburton shot to jump up in the air and hit you that way and go in? How do you allow that shot to jump up and go in? And then you got fortunate to some degree because Halliburton, as he's doing the choke sign, didn't realize his foot was on the line, and you get to overtime. There was a Miles Turner block. I forget who it was. That should have been a goaltend. And then once the Knicks lost that game, you knew the series was over. So karma there. A couple years ago, talk about like the bad injury luck. OG pulling his hamstring. Mitch is out. Brunson fractures his hand in game 7 of that Pacers series. So you've just had, the game 6 in the 2023 playoffs. People forget this. In Miami, Knicks having a chance to win the game, Brunson stumbles and then turns the ball over, and then the Heat just steal that from you. So there was a lot of just like bad moments, unfortunate sequence of events, some of it just terrible luck that has gotten you here to a point where as high as you are on this team, you do know we're just far too accustomed to having our hearts break, our hearts broken. We've grown accustomed to that. It's like the Mets school of emotion, where it's like, man, I've seen this movie one too many times. It's just not going to happen. But give credit to the Knicks. They come away with this victory. I'm stunned. I think the basketball world right now is stunned. I don't care how long you've been watching the league. Like, that's the type of game you're just gonna remember forever because it's an all-timer in terms of like sequence of events. Even if the Knicks don't go on to win a championship, it's like, you remember game 1 of the conference finals when they were down 22 and Brunson scored 17 of 38 in the final 8 minutes of the game, where Donovan and Harden just choked. Because for Mitchell, here's the problem, man. This is your first ever conference finals appearance. First ever conference finals appearance. And in the first game of that first ever conference finals appearance, this is what happens to you. Is it unfair to say, like, this is the first bullet point on Donovan Mitchell's resume right now? And I love Mitchell, man. It's one of my favorite players in the league. And we spent so much time on radio in New York talking about how the Knicks fumbled the bag by not trading for him. Because, like, imagine you get Brunson and Donovan. It's a terrible defensive backcourt, but the fun every night, the highlight reel, like, it's like the fact that you had that opportunity and did not push all your chips in was going to end up being like one of those, okay, organizational malpractice. That's why we never won the title. And here's where you land. It becomes like a I don't want to say rivalry, maybe a mini rivalry between these two teams. You've got some New York ties with Jared Allen and James Harden, haven't played for the Nets, and they end up becoming one of the biggest what ifs in NBA history. The Donovan Knicks relationship, almost, I should say, and it culminates in a series that a lot of us thought would go in favor of the Knicks pretty easily. Knicks in 5. But the first chapter of it, we didn't imagine would be the Cavs blowing a 22-point lead. Like, we did not see that one coming. And so this is nuts, man. It goes without saying, a tough pill to swallow if you are a Cavs fan, but just the pure elation if you're the Knicks fan, who, if you're of a certain age, it's the best win of your life. And I don't even think it's particularly close. Where you are in your development, in your timeline, as far as how close you are to possibly winning this championship, you're down 22 points at home. And you just get contributions from all over the place, including, for a lot of Knicks fans, their favorite Knick ever now, Jalen Brunson, scoring 17 of 38 in the final 8 minutes of the game. Mr. 5 first-round picks, who y'all wanted to bench 2 rounds ago, he's hitting big shot after big shot. Shamit comes in, has the lucky bounce off the rim, and then you get to overtime and you blast them. Thanks in large part to OG Anunoby, who for the first like 3.5 quarters of that game didn't look right with that hamstring issue. And now that culminates in You saying bye-bye to Donovan Mitchell, who you could have had a couple years ago, and James Harden, who the Nets did have a couple years ago, and now you're 3 wins away from the finals following an 11-point victory where you just watched it, and for most of it, you're like, the Knicks are they're just like, this is just one of those games that ends in a loss. Except if you've been watching them the last 5 years, it's like, no, they win these types of games. This is who they've become. This is part of their identity. Sure, they'll blow games like this too, as we saw in the first round last year, but man, what a win. You wake up today and the moment your eyes open, it's like, did that really happen? Yeah, it did. It did. So shout out to the Nick faithful. Shout out to the Nick faithful. Any comments, hit me up. I might come back on here and stream uh a couple more times just because like this is the type of game you just never want to stop talking about. You never want to stop talking about it. It's that big of a story. It's that big of a win. And there are so many different layers to it, y'all. So many different layers. I want to pull up some plays while we're here. Um, I want to pull up some plays while we're here. The Cavs, I mean, it is just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. Here we go. So I'm looking at shout out to all city underscore NBA. Want to show them some love for putting this together. And I put it up on the screen. So the Knicks end up getting Harden, all NBA podcast, all city NBA. Just want to give them credit because me cropping them out now is gonna make it look like, you know, this is not their tweet, but just wanted to give them credit. So the Knicks, as they point out, end up getting Harden to switch on 9 isolations in the fourth quarter NOT, getting an obscene 1.9 points per direct action. And this play in particular, if you're a Cavs fan, just has to drive you crazy. Um, so with 23 seconds left in the game. So this is right after Harden actually, great job by him, gets into the lane, has the little turnaround fadeaway jump shot that rims in, puts them up by 2. The following possession, I don't understand what Dean Wade is doing here. You cannot switch this. Harden's been getting cooked. We know how this possession ends because we've seen it all throughout the fourth quarter. You can't switch this. I trap Brunson. The ball is going to go to Bridges. If he hits the shot, all power to him. I am not letting Brunson get this shot off. I'm just not doing it. How does that happen? Um, Jeff Johnson's gonna hop on here in a second. Uh, Jeff Johnson, who does an excellent job covering the Knicks for Knicks Film School, he's gonna hop on here. So let's get him because I want to hear from the Knicks fans. This is like one of those games again that you just never stop talking about. It's amazing as it's happening. In the aftermath, it gets even better when you start to break down everything that's going on. It's crazy. It's crazy. So let's get my man Jeff Johnson on for a couple minutes. We'll get out of here. I got some meetings that I'm late to. I want to go because I want to go through this play with Jeff. How do you not switch this? I mean, how do you not trap this? Why Bridges doesn't even set a screen. It's like a brush. He doesn't do anything. So they just succumb to what the Knicks were throwing at them. They acquiesce to some, Bridges isn't even setting the screen. I don't understand that. I don't get that. This play is the final Knicks offensive possession of regulation. You allow that to it doesn't make sense. And once Jeff jumps on, we're only gonna go for a couple minutes. Um, I've got more plans later for streams. We'll get that rolling before the Western Conference Finals tonight. My kids are gonna come home from school. It's a beautiful day here in New York City, and they're gonna want to go to the park and have some fun. So I am gonna have to devote some time to that. But around the daddy obligations, we've got to bump in with some Nick talk. Bump in the day with some Nick talk because that's the type of game. For as long as you live, if you're a Knicks fan, you're never gonna stop thinking about. You're never gonna stop thinking about. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all earned this. Y'all deserve this. After all those years of being a laughing stock, of being the joke of the NBA, you got some karma, some good karma, and some favorability going in your direction. And my man Jeff Johnson, Knicks Film School, yo, you got to be on 1,000. I know you're on limited sleep right now. You got to be on 1,000, my boy.
Listen, bro. Last night was one of the most surreal sports moments I've ever experienced. And I was in the building when Dante DiVincenzo sent the Sixers to hell.
Game
And the
two.
garden shook. And for those who don't understand what I mean, if you remember Marshawn Lynch created a seismic event in Seattle when they scored that touchdown, like literally it registered on the Richter scale. I wouldn't be surprised if that night there was like a 0.3 or a 0.4 in that building. I was standing still and the building was shaking and it looked like I was jumping. That's still number one. But last night we was at our watch party. Shout out to Fanatics. Shout out to Penn 6.
Yes, sir.
We in there. And when these dudes was down 22 or whatever, I had already conceded. Like you could go look at my tweets. Like I said, yo, good game, Cleveland. Y'all wanted it more.
I'm shocked you did that.
Huh?
I'm shocked you did that.
You know what? Because I've seen when this team just doesn't have it, and it seemed like Cleveland was just too much in rhythm, and the Knicks just couldn't overcome themselves. The rest, whatever you want to call it, like it just wasn't their night. I knew that the Cavs had the capacity to blow leads. It just didn't look like that night it was going to happen. So I was like, yo, you know what? And it wasn't even like some BS reverse jinx. Yeah. I just said, yo, y'all got it. The Knicks are going to have to come back strong in game 2 and tie up this series. And I was more so pissed that they gave away another game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals back to back.
Yeah.
But almost a year to the day of the Hallie shot, they come all the way back. Like I haven't seen a crowd flip like that in a minute, to where everybody was quiet. Like I'm hanging in the back and I'm just looking, I'm watching. I'm like, yo, just finish strong so that you could get into a rhythm so that in game 2, y'all could come back and handle business. And boy, they did a lot more than that. Like as every shot, every stop, every possession, every positive possession continue to stack one another on top. You just could feel the belief growing in Penn 6. You could feel it in the city. You could feel that type of connected energy. And bro, this man, Jalen Brunson, like
what can you say, man?
What else are you going to say? Like he had, yo, have you spoke about the fact that Kenny Atkinson left his timeouts in El Segundo?
Bro, and then after the game, doing? And after the game, he's like, I like to hold on to my timeouts.
That's worse. Jared Allen, we have the watch. We'll see you in it. Your lights are too bright, quote. You can rest now. We have the watch, and we'll see you in Valhalla. I like to keep my timeouts. yo, at least Jared Allen was keeping it real about something that he just was beat. He got bettered.
It's beyond
This
his
is
control.
malpractice.
That's beyond Jared Allen's control, and he's just acquiescing to a reality that's bigger than him. That was nuts. We are streaming live on YouTube. Hit us up at Ty D Butler, at Jeff Says. We are also streaming on Twitter. So I want to see you hop in the comments. We're going for another 10 minutes or so. You do the Knicks film school stuff, so you're the perfect person to help me break down what happens here. Because the more I watch it, if I'm a Cavs fan, as bad as they played the final 740 of that game, where Harden went into playoff Harden mode, where Donovan Mitchell I didn't even know he was on the court. Like, he just disappeared. You've got Jared Allen missing multiple free throws. You have Bridges hitting big shots, and Shamet hits the big shots. And like, so much went right for the Knicks, so much went wrong for the Cavs, and yet you still had a chance to win the game. I don't understand what's going on here, because James Harden, we know, can't guard Brunson one-on-one. How do we know that? Well, we saw it the entirety of the fourth quarter. And Bridges doesn't even, I want to try to zoom in a little bit more here. Bridges doesn't even set a screen. It's not even like, I can't even call it like a brush screen. Like, nothing happens. And somehow Wade just allows the switch, and Harden allows the switch. And I get it. Bridges is going to be open for three if you trap that. I'm going full Mitch Johnson, and I'm saying SGA is not beating us. Brunson's not beating us. If we lose to Bridges or OG, who at that point had not been playing well, or Cat or Shamet, man, God bless him. I don't understand how you can allow this to happen. And this is the final Knicks offensive possession after Harden hits the shot and before Merrill shot rims out.
Well, I could tell you a couple of things that happened. First off, them boys was tired. Not tired. Them boys was tired. You know how, have you ever played like 4 straight games of pickup? Yeah. And then you get to game 5 and everybody's like, yo, I think I got to go home, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, just play one more. Like, yo, one more and we out. That's the last one. And you play that game, and after like the first 5 minutes, everybody stops and like, yo, are we going to play? Like, should we just end this game? Are we cooked? Because nobody can hit shots. Everybody's moving slow. At this point, everybody's playing for pride. That's how their legs felt. Like, their legs were deader than iPhone batteries at 2 a.m., bro. That's first off. Secondly, Sam Merrill said, I'm not guarding Jalen Brunson. You can see, he's like, yo, Bridges, you got it, right? Now, with Harden, apparently Kenny Atkinson is comfortable with Harden guarding the best player on teams. I remember in games 5 through 7, actually for the whole Pistons series, down the stretch, Harden was guarding Cade.
Yeah.
And he was continuously guarding Cade. And I get it, you want to put a big body on Cade. That's probably like the most effective. But he was guarding Cade in crunch time. So this is by strategy. They want Harden on the best player, which I saw some people going back and forth on the timeline about whether or not James Harden is a good defender or not. The man is 37.
Yeah.
He's never really been known for his defense.
Year
he
17.
played 14 games in 29 days, back-to-back series where the series has gone the distance. You had 1 day of rest, fake rest, because you had to travel in and y'all probably just chilled in the hotel, maybe got some treatment. And then you had to play a fourth quarter and overtime, right? Like, this has all the makings. Like, when a collapse occurs, a certain series of events has to happen that would never happen in 99 times out of 100 or 0.1 or literally like 99 out of 100. The Knicks had like a tenth of a probability of winning this game with 7 minutes to go. What are they? Teams were 0-643 when trailing by 20 with 7 minutes to go. And now it's 1-643. There's so many stats right now. And Ty, one of the things that happened, this man, Kenny Atkinson, did not call a timeout. Like, and I understood his whole comment about he wanted to keep timeouts. It to me is one of those comments where I understand the rationale, but I think you don't fully comprehend what was going on. Your rationale does not apply to the moment. You had use it or lose it timeouts.
Yeah.
You literally lost one of those timeouts when you could have stopped it when they cut the lead to 12. Like, all right, man, everybody relax. Let's figure this out. You could have used the timeouts to sub people in. Oh, by the way, Jalen Brunson was playing on 5 fouls.
Yo, can I stop you real quick?
Yes, please.
I know we got a couple minutes left here. At Ty D Butler, at Jeff Says, hit us up on Twitter. We are streaming live. That part right there that you just mentioned. Jalen Brunson is a phenomenal basketball player. We've watched him up close and personal the last half decade. The one thing we know about him is once he sees that he's getting cooked on defense, he is going to try to gain any advantage that he has. And one of those advantages is he's one of the best in the league at drawing charges, where once you get into crunch time and guys are driving into the lane, charge fouls become 50-50. So it's a coin flip. When you have two of the best drivers of the basketball in the game right now with Harden and Mitchell, and you're going up against Jalen Brunson with 5 fouls, it is a coin flip as far as him being able to finish the game, because he picks up that 6, he's gone. The Knicks are cooked. So I don't understand how you just settle for jacking up threes. You settle for, all right, guys, this is our offense. Go at Brunson, who's got 5 fouls. I could have come up with that. I don't understand it, bro.
Dog, listen. I tuned in to Get Up, and Alan Hahn made an excellent point. Could you imagine, Ty? And we in this market, we know the vibes. Could you imagine the reverse happening to the Knicks, where they blew a 22-point lead in which Mike Brown refused to call timeouts to stop or interrupt or disrupt the momentum, and this man would have got on the podium and said, "Well, I like to keep my timeouts. I like to keep them. I like to have at least 2."
I like the Mike Brown impersonation.
Ty, I like to keep my timeouts. What? Yo, the entire tri-state area would have called for his head, not to mention the rest of national media, which is why I'm not shocked, but I'm impressed that folks are making this a focal point. That, at this point, you can't even blame the Cavs, like the players. They're gonna play. You have to be the adult in the room and tell them certain people you have to sit down. Like, bro, we had to hear about Dean Wade being a Brunson stopper before the series. Where was Dean Wade?
To his credit, he did have some success against Brunson.
Yeah, he did. But where was he? This dude is human torching your squad. You got to do something else. And in overtime, they switched up and put Max Strus on him. And Strus was on that island fighting for his life too.
Bro, we just watched what the Spurs did to the MVP of the league was taken out of a game essentially because Mitch Johnson decided correctly, listen, I'm not allowing SGA to just cook us. Mm-hmm. If we get beat by J-Dub or Chet or Caruso or Case and Wallace, cool, man. It's cool. Like, they're just a great team, 1 through 12. But what I'm not going to have happen is SGA, who I saw walked 4 different teams down in the playoffs last year, 2 different teams in the playoffs this year, win back-to-back MVPs. I'm not allowing him to just eat our food.
At all.
And Kenny Atkinson is just standing there. Oh, I love the Harden Brunson matchup. This is great. Like, if I'm a Cavs fan, bro, like this is gonna sound dramatic because part of it is that's the type of like coaching malpractice that if Dan Gilbert today, who's been like vocal on social media all throughout this process, if he comes out today and he just fires the entire coaching staff prior to game two, I'm like, bro, it's cool. Like, I understand.
Yo, there were people that picked Knicks in 5, and that was like that was the one game. That was the game that you had in hand.
Yeah.
Listen, the Knicks didn't play a good game. They got bailed out. They got bailed out. Let's call it what it is. They got hot at the right moment. Team rest is up 1,000. I thought Team Rest. Listen, I thought I said Team Russ was up 1 billion after game one in OKC and then in New York. But Team Rest came back. Now they up 1,000 because they walked those boys down and they outlasted them.
Yeah.
It helps when your coach doesn't call timeouts. It helps when you have Captain Clutch on his side, who has more 35-point playoff games than like 99.7% of the players in the history of the association. Like it's insane, bro. It's insane. And thank you, Dallas, from the city of New York. But yeah, bro, all those series of events. We even talk about the fact that Landry Shamet got the friendly bounce. I'm telling you, almost a year to the day, Ty, of the Halliburton shot. Landry gets that bounce. OG, for all the talk about his hamstring, he scored, I think, about 7 of them 14
Yes.
points in the
I think it was
OT off of
9. I
free
think it might have
throws.
been 9 or 14. Yeah, I
9.
think.
He had a good drive. He had all of that. He was still a little bit disruptive. You could tell that the man ain't played ball in 2 weeks. You ever not play ball like in a few weeks and you go out there and you looking like you shooting the ball over the backboard and
Yeah.
whatnot. So it takes a while to get into rhythm, but he was moving well, which I was, monitoring, but he was moving well. But yeah, bro, what a win, man. What a win. What a performance from Jalen Brunson. What a collapse by the Cavs. And now the Knicks got some things they got to solve too, because the beautiful game offense got mucked up.
Yeah.
The cat pitch post got
Yep.
mucked up. You're going to have to figure out this Josh Hart situation,
If he's not hitting
because
threes, yeah.
if we can accept that every series may not be your series,
That's a
I
good point.
believe we're going to have to start accepting, and that Knicks coaching staff is going to have to start accepting, this may not be a Josh Hart series in the way that you want it to be a Josh Hart series. The same way how in Atlanta, Mikal had that quick hook. Yo, if Josh ain't hitting those shots and they're going to let Allen be a free safety
Rome.
in the
Yep.
paint, yo, it's not going to end up well. And I seen some people talking about how, oh, well, the Knicks built an 11-point lead with that starting 5. They just, conked out, blah, blah, blah. Well, one, why do you think that's the case? Why do you think they all of a sudden stalled? 2, the bench came into that first quarter and turned up.
Yeah, they did.
Deuce, Mitch, Clarkson, they're the ones who turned up and helped build that 11-point lead. They switched it up. Some matchups are just not going to be ideal for everyone. I think at this point, if you put 5 shooters on the court, it forces Jared Allen to have to guard somebody on the perimeter, or else it's going to be a better percentage point shooter dot in your eye. So the Knicks are going to have to figure that out. They're going to have to figure some stuff out schematically, but it's way better to do that with a win in your hand than 3 wins away from the finals.
All right, last one before we get out of here, and I appreciate you doing it, especially on short notice. Shout out to you.
All good, brother.
So we last time we talked, it was, you mentioned this is a lot of built up excitement from decades of just like disappointment. And then you watch and this is where like Team of Destiny becomes a cliche. But you pointed out the Shamit bounce a year after Halliburton shot. The juxtaposition of the Shamit bounce and the Merrill, like that thing was in the basket. Like
Yeah,
it was like
that was game time.
Bro, it was like the ghost of Nick's past, or like Eddie Curry,
Marlon Wayans,
Malik
the 6
Rose.
man.
Yeah, it's like all those teams, the Sheldon Williams, the Cle Anthony Earlys, they died so that these Knicks can live. How does that Merrill shot not go in. It's just bizarre to me. So just
Yo,
as a
that
Knicks
rim
fan,
out was once I saw it, I was like, damn, he got open. And shout out to Brunson for the contest.
yeah.
Every little bit counts. And I'm talking about in and out. Fred Katz had a great tweet where he said this felt like a apology from the basketball gods for what happened last year. I'm telling you, man, certain things are coming together. The Knicks still got to play better, but certain
Mm,
things are coming together where I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, if this ain't your year, I don't know what is your year. So
yeah.
seize the moment. Tomorrow's not promised. Next year isn't promised. Anything can happen. While you are here, do everything in your power to capitalize and get the chip, man. You got to do it.
Yo, I appreciate you joining on such short notice.
Thank you, brother. I
We'll
appreciate
definitely
you.
we'll definitely link up again soon. What you got popping today so the people can know?
Oh, there's tons and tons of work, bro. Like too many jobs, too many things to count. But yo, you can check out the my Baca breakdown with my guy Sean and Mill Media. We were at the watch party, a bunch of people. So a lot of good people in the garden after the game. 5-0 was not playing. Like there was there
Yeah,
was there was celebration, but all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it moving. Probably
yeah.
because it's later on in the night. But yeah, we saw a lot of good people out there. So just tap into Knicks Film School. We'll have our playoff hangover episode. You could catch my Baca breakdown on my pages and all of my socials. And yeah, we getting ready for game two. And let me just say this before I go. Folks were saying this is the JV game
Oh,
of the
chill
conference
out, yo,
finals.
chill out, chill out. I was with Wilbon, and I'm not trying to name
Oh,
drop. I was
it's
hanging
no
with Wilbon last night.
it's no slander. Like I say it, like, and then this is all public. Like, yo, I got no slander for Mike Wilbon, and I got what he was saying when he
Yeah,
said JV. I was like, oh, that's gonna hurt. He said, I know it's gonna piss him off, and we knew. But what he said, like, this is the undercard. It is. Like,
yeah,
let's just keep it real. This is the top two teams in the West that have legit static with each other, and there's tons of storylines. Like that's the classic matchup. Knicks Cavs is gonna be the street single.
mm.
It's the street album,
For the
right?
album that's coming out.
Yeah. So it's like I tell you, like the Knicks Cavs is so far gone.
uh,
OKC freaking San Antonio is like get rich or die trying.
I hear
It's
that.
the
The New
blueprint.
York, you speaking that New York talk
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
the
I like
blueprint,
that.
and this is like the so far gone. Like this is the mixtape. Like the Eastern Conference is like the hot mixtape, the classic mixtape. That is a classic. That one is the classic album, right? Like it's like you got Illmatic on one side and like the Rockefeller mixtape on the other one. So I get it, but I was like, Mike, that I feel like that's going to that's gonna come back. They're gonna put on a show. It's almost like you see somebody perform and you like
Yeah.
that hypes you to be
Mhm.
able to say, yo, I'm gonna show out myself. And funny enough, this is the first time I believe in NBA history that both game one conference finals went to
It's
OT.
overtime. Yeah, absolutely.
We win. And
Crazy.
now we get to see if OKC can deliver the counterpunch on their home floor. They better.
Well, it's tough for us as NBA fans because we've been told the NBA is dying, and yet here we are. Yo, Jeff, I appreciate you, my brother. I'ma
Thank you,
holler at
bro.
you.
Yes, sir. Talk
Definitely hit
soon.
you up. We'll do this again. We'll definitely do
Yeah,
this
man.
again.
Put out the bad
It's
signal. I'll answer. All right, bro.
I appreciate you, my bro. Man, what a freaking night. What a freaking night. And Silver, if you're Adam Silver, this is Christmas Day. I said at the start of the playoffs, and this obviously wasn't some like galaxy brain take. It was obvious. If you're Silver, you need an excellent postseason. You took a beating throughout the year, and rightfully so, with the tanking and the load management stuff. The All Star game being a topic of conversation for how disastrous that's become. You needed a great postseason, and in the conference finals, you just get back to back thrillers where Wimby has one of the best games I've ever seen, and that's not being hyperbolic. You follow that up with an all time finish between the Cavs and the Knicks, where Brunson's doing his thing. It's an epic choke job by Cleveland, but also for a generation of Knicks fans, one of the best wins they've ever seen. So, what? a postseason so far for the NBA in silver. And I'm just glad that I didn't listen to the Clay Travises and the Outkicks of the world who told me that the league was dead, this woke culture. I'm just glad I never paid attention to them. Shout out to all of you guys tuning in to the show today. At Ty D Butler is where you can find me on all of my social media platforms. That is on Twitter, on Instagram, streaming live on YouTube. Hit me up on TikTok. This was a lot of fun. I got the bags under my eyes because I'm so damn tired, but just feeling fulfilled. The only thing that could make this better is if this were the Lakers. I'll keep it a buck. Like if we had the Lakers on the opposite side, and we're gearing up for Lakers Knicks finals, I don't know what I'd be able to do with myself. But what a tremendous, tremendous 2 days of hoops. I don't remember if we just exclude the Lakers because that's where my heart is, ever having a better 2 day span of basketball. That's just how unbelievable this was. Unbelievable. Shout out to all the Knicks fans. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm gonna holla at y'all later on. I've got some stuff I'm working on, getting some guests on the program. Shout out to Jeff Johnson, who's awesome as always. Always brings the energy. Um, yeah, we'll be back later. Ty D Butler on all your social media platforms. Holla at me. Tremendous, tremendous night of basketball. Man, what a show. I appreciate you guys. Later.